Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
Warriors have no choice but to bench their playoff hero amid team struggles. Something has to change, fast. Buddy Hield was once the unexpected hero of the Golden State Warriors playoff run, sealing their Game 7 victory over the Houston Rockets in dramatic fashion. But only a few months later, that moment feels like a distant memory. The veteran sharpshooter has fallen into a troubling slump, and with the Warriors stumbling out of the gate this season, his spot in Steve Kerr's rotation is hanging by a thread. Buddy Hield's role is in serious jeopardy. Hield remains one of the most likable and respected voices in the Warriors locker room. His energy, positivity, and work ethic have always been appreciated by teammates and coaches alike. And for most of the past decade, he's been among the league's elite three-point shooters, a role every team needs in today's NBA. But numbers don't lie, and Hield's current production is forcing some tough decisions. In Friday night's blowout loss to the Denver Nuggets, Hield scored just 8 points on 3 of 7 shooting, committed 2 turnovers, and finished with a -17 in less than 20 minutes of action. Over the season, Golden State has been outscored by 37 points with him on the floor, a telling statistic for a player whose main value is supposed to be offensive impact. His shooting percentages, 34.9% from deep and 43.8% from the field, are well below his career averages. And without those shots falling, Hield's limitations become painfully clear. He's not a creator off the dribble, not an elite defender, and not a player who changes the game when his jumper isn't working. At 32, he's now dangerously close to losing his place in the rotation altogether. A rookie is forcing Kerr's hand. Enter rookie guard Will Richard, who's quickly becoming a fan favorite. His breakout 30-point performance against the Sacramento Kings earlier this week turned heads across the league, and inside the Warriors' locker room. Against Denver, he followed it up with 12 points in just 19 minutes, showing hustle, energy, and a willingness to defend. Richard may not have Hield's reputation as a marksman, though his current percentages suggest otherwise, but he's proving he can impact the game in multiple ways, cutting to the basket, crashing the boards, and playing with the kind of defensive urgency the Warriors desperately need. It's becoming increasingly difficult for Kerr to justify keeping Hield in the rotation when Richard is offering so much more on both ends. Hield's future with the Warriors is on the line. The harsh reality is that Hield's struggles couldn't come at a worse time. Golden State has lost 5 of its last 6 games and looks disjointed without Stephen Curry in the lineup. The front office is already evaluating every aspect of the roster, and Hield's $9.2 million expiring contract makes him one of the most likely trade candidates if the team decides to shake things up. Hield's story isn't over yet, but the clock is ticking. If he doesn't rediscover his shooting touch soon, the Warriors might have no choice but to pull him from the rotation entirely and explore trade options before the mid-season deadline. For a player who just months ago was being hailed as a postseason hero, it's a stunning and humbling fall. Still, in a league that values shooting more than ever, all it takes is one hot stretch to change the narrative. Whether Buddy Hield can find that spark again, or whether the Warriors decide to move on, could determine how this turbulent season unfolds for Golden State. Inside the locker room, growing tension and urgency. Inside the Warriors' locker room, frustration is beginning to surface. Players aren't panicking, not yet, but there's a clear sense that time is running out to fix what's gone wrong. After Friday night's loss to Denver, the atmosphere was subdued. Several players stayed on the court longer than usual, getting extra shots up. Hield was among them, quietly working through shooting drills long after reporters had left. According to team insiders, he's been one of the hardest workers during practices, trying to regain his rhythm and confidence. Head coach Steve Kerr has avoided publicly criticizing Hield, but his recent comments made it clear that accountability will be the theme moving forward. "We can't rely on reputation or past performances," Kerr said after the loss. "We need production right now, consistency, effort, and urgency from everyone. That's the standard." Behind those words lies an unmistakable message: minutes will be earned, not given. Front office monitoring the situation closely. According to several league sources, the Warriors front office is keeping a close eye on Hield's situation. With his $9.2 million salary and expiring contract, The veteran guard represents one of Golden State's most tradable assets if the team decides to pursue roster changes before the February trade deadline. The team's management has been reluctant to make early season moves in recent years, preferring to let chemistry develop organically. But this season feels different. The Western Conference is loaded with parity, and a slow start could mean the difference between contending and fighting for a play-in spot. If Hield's production doesn't improve soon, it wouldn't be surprising to see Golden State explore offers from teams seeking shooting depth, especially contenders in need of reliable floor spacers off the bench. Still, Hield's professionalism and leadership make any potential trade a difficult decision. Kerr and general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. have emphasized the value of veteran voices in the locker room, particularly with a roster that now includes several young contributors like Brandon Podziemski and Will Richard. Searching for stability without Stephen Curry. The Warriors' reliance on Stephen Curry has never been more apparent. Without him, the offense often looks stagnant, overly dependent on isolation plays and broken sets that fail to generate open looks for shooters like Hield. Curry's return, expected within days, could help reset the team's offensive rhythm and create the kind of spacing Hield thrives on. Still, it's fair to question whether his presence alone will be enough to solve deeper structural issues, especially with aging veterans and an inconsistent bench. Golden State's once-feared ball movement has slowed noticeably. Opponents have adjusted defensively, pressuring perimeter players and forcing secondary scorers to make plays off the dribble, something that hasn't been Hield's strength throughout his career. A pivotal stretch ahead. Over the next 2 weeks, the Warriors embark on a 6-game road trip that could define their season. They'll face several physical defensive-minded teams, including the Thunder, Pelicans, and Bucks, opponents that will test their toughness and resolve. If Hield can rediscover his shooting touch and deliver meaningful minutes during this stretch, it could change everything. A few strong games might not only restore Kerr's trust, but also remind the league why Hield remains one of the purest shooters of his generation. But if his struggles persist, the writing on the wall may become impossible to ignore. The Warriors can't afford sentimentality in a season that's slipping away. The bottom line. Buddy Hield's story with the Warriors has reached a crossroads. From playoff hero to potential trade piece, his journey encapsulates the fine line between success and uncertainty in the NBA. For Golden State, the decision isn't just about one player. It's about whether they can still chase titles with their current core, or if it's finally time to reshape the roster around Curry before it's too late. The next few weeks may not only determine Hield's fate, but could also shape the Warriors' entire season, and perhaps their future beyond it. Draymond Green delivers a much-needed wake-up call to Jonathan Kuminga. It's exactly what the young forward needed to hear. Friday night was rough for the Golden State Warriors, another frustrating loss in a stretch that's quickly turning into a wake-up call for the entire team. Without Stephen Curry in the lineup, the Warriors were outmatched and outplayed by the Denver Nuggets, falling in a game that exposed both their lack of depth and their over-reliance on veteran leadership. After the loss, Draymond Green, never one to sugarcoat reality, had some strong but necessary words for rising forward Jonathan Kuminga, a message that may prove crucial for the young player's development. Draymond Green sends a clear message. Golden State has now dropped 5 of its last 6 games, and frustration is starting to build. The team was shorthanded against one of the best squads in the West, but that didn't make the loss any easier to stomach. Among those who struggled most was Jonathan Kuminga, who finished with just 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting after what had otherwise been a promising start to his season. When asked post-game about Kuminga's performance, Draymond didn't hesitate. "This is the first time JK's played this many minutes," Green said. "Our schedule's been crazy. He's being asked to play heavy minutes every night, and it's more games in fewer days than he's ever experienced. I'm sure he's feeling it. But A, this is what he wanted, and B, he's built for it." It was classic Draymond, tough love, but rooted in belief. A veteran's challenge, and a vote of confidence. Green wasn't simply calling out Kuminga, he was putting things in perspective. The 21-year-old forward is being asked to take on a much larger role this season, averaging over 30 minutes per game for the first time in his career. The increased workload, combined with Golden State's relentless early schedule, has clearly taken a toll. Still, Green's message carried an edge, a reminder that this level of responsibility is exactly what Kuminga fought for. After a long summer filled with extension talk and speculation about his role, Kuminga finally earned both the contract and the trust that come with being a cornerstone piece. Now it's on him to prove he can deliver night after night, regardless of fatigue or circumstance. He wanted this, Green emphasized. He's got what it takes, now it's just about handling the grind. The bigger picture for the Warriors. The Warriors' struggles go beyond one player. Without Curry's steady hand, the offense has sputtered, and the team's energy has often felt flat. Veterans like Green and Klay Thompson are pushing to keep the locker room together, but it's clear that Golden State's younger core will have to carry more weight if the team wants to stay competitive in the loaded Western Conference. That starts with Kuminga. His athleticism, defense, and ability to attack the rim have been bright spots at times this season, but consistency remains the missing ingredient. Green's words weren't meant as criticism so much as a challenge, a demand for maturity, accountability, and the kind of nightly focus that separates promising talent from true stars. A crucial stretch ahead. The Warriors face a pivotal stretch in their schedule. After Sunday's home game, they'll hit the road for a 6-game trip that could define their early season. With the team desperate to regain momentum, they'll need every player, especially Kuminga, to step up. Draymond's message wasn't just for his young teammate. It was for the entire locker room. The time for excuses is over. The Warriors still believe they can compete with anyone. But belief alone won't get them there. As Green reminded everyone, effort, preparation, and consistency are what will separate the contenders from the pretenders. And for Jonathan Kuminga, that message couldn't have come at a better time. How Kuminga took the message, and what it means going forward. For Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green's words weren't a public scolding, they were a reality check. Sources close to the team say the young forward listened carefully and took the veteran's message to heart. Kuminga has built a reputation inside the Warriors' locker room as one of the hardest-working players on the roster. Coaches have often praised his effort during practices and his dedication to improving both physically and mentally. But as Draymond reminded him, talent alone isn't enough when expectations rise. This season marks a turning point for Kuminga. After spending his first few years learning the system and earning sporadic minutes, he's now being trusted with real responsibility. With that comes pressure and scrutiny. JK's figuring out how to be consistent, said one Warriors assistant coach following the loss to Denver. He's learning that being a starter in this league isn't about flashes of brilliance. It's about bringing the same energy and focus every night, even when your body's tired or your shot's not falling. Steve Kerr backs Green's message. Head coach Steve Kerr echoed Green's sentiments in his post-game comments, choosing to frame the message as constructive guidance rather than criticism. Draymond's been through every stage of this game, from a young player trying to earn minutes to a leader holding everyone accountable, Kerr said. His voice carries weight. And JK needs to hear that kind of challenge. We all believe in what he can become. Kerr has long emphasized mentorship as a cornerstone of the Warriors' culture, and Green's tough love approach has been crucial in developing players like Jordan Poole, Kevin Looney, and now Kuminga. The expectation is that Kuminga will respond the same way, by using the criticism as fuel. Inside the locker room, support and expectations. Teammates reportedly supported Green's comments, viewing them not as a rebuke but as a necessary push. Veteran guard Klay Thompson was among those who spoke privately with Kuminga after the loss, encouraging him to stay locked in. "We've all been there," Thompson told reporters later. "You go through stretches where nothing's clicking, shots, rhythm, energy. But the great ones find ways to push through it. That's what we expect from him." Within the team, there's a shared understanding that Kuminga represents a bridge between eras, a young athletic forward who can eventually carry the torch from Curry, Thompson, and Green. That's part of why Green's comments drew attention. They weren't about calling him out, they were about calling him up. A leadership lesson from Draymond. For Green, moments like this define his role on the team as much as his defense or playmaking. His leadership style isn't always gentle, but it's deeply rooted in care for the standard the Warriors have built over the past decade. "Draymond's not yelling for attention," said one team source. "He's demanding accountability because he knows what winning looks like. He knows what it takes." That leadership will be even more critical as the Warriors enter a brutal stretch of the schedule. 6 of their next 7 games will be on the road, against opponents who will test their physical and mental toughness. The message to Kuminga, in truth, applies to everyone wearing the Golden State uniform: bring consistent effort, or get left behind. The broader implications. Golden State's dynasty may be aging, but the organization still believes it can compete for a playoff spot, and maybe more, if its younger players mature quickly. Kuminga's development, along with the emergence of rookie guard Will Richard and second-year guard Brandon Podziemski, will determine how long the Warriors can keep their championship window open. Draymond Green's challenge to Kuminga was about more than one bad game. It was about preparing him to lead the next version of this franchise, to become the kind of player who can shoulder expectations when Curry, Thompson, and Green are no longer around to do it. The bottom line. Draymond Green's words might have stung in the moment, but they came from a place of belief. The Warriors see something special in Jonathan Kuminga, a player with the physical gifts and work ethic to become a franchise cornerstone. Now, it's up to him to respond. The next few weeks will test his mental toughness as much as his skill set. Green lit the fire. How Kuminga chooses to burn will tell the Warriors, and the league, everything they need to know. Yellow circle. The Warriors are missing the spark that Donte DiVincenzo once brought. He might have been the missing piece. The Golden State Warriors are searching for answers after another tough loss, this time to the Denver Nuggets. The team has looked flat and uninspired lately, a stark contrast to the high-energy, fast-paced brand of basketball that once defined their dynasty. And it's hard not to wonder, are they still feeling the absence of Donte DiVincenzo? DiVincenzo only spent one season in Golden State, during the 2022-23 campaign, but his impact was undeniable. In just over 26 minutes per game, he averaged around 9 points and became a glue guy, the kind of player who didn't need the spotlight to change the tempo of a game. He defended relentlessly, crashed the boards, made smart passes, and injected energy whenever the team needed it most. Now, that kind of energy is exactly what the Warriors seem to be missing. A career on the rise, just somewhere else. After leaving the Bay, DiVincenzo signed with the New York Knicks, where he enjoyed one of the best stretches of his career, averaging more than 15 points per game. Before the 2024-25 season, he was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and once again he's thriving. He took a few weeks to find his rhythm in Minnesota, but lately, he's been the same spark plug fans remember from his time with Golden State. Through the early part of the season, DiVincenzo is averaging 14.4 points, nearly 30 minutes per game, and shooting an impressive 43.6% from the field. Even more impressively, he's doing it all while playing with a broken nose and wearing a protective mask, without missing a beat. He's also stepped into a new role as a starter, something he didn't experience much last year, when he opened in just 10 games. Minnesota has leaned on his intensity and toughness, while veteran Mike Conley has transitioned into more of a supporting role. So far, the fit looks seamless. What the Warriors are missing. Meanwhile, in Golden State, the shooting guard rotation remains a work in progress. The Warriors have depth, with Brandon Podziemski, Buddy Hield, and rookie Will Richard all available, but what they lack is a jolt of energy. The veterans have experience, the young players have talent, but the team as a whole seems to be missing that intangible burst of momentum that players like DiVincenzo bring. When the Warriors went on their best runs over the past decade, it wasn't just about Stephen Curry's shooting or Draymond Green's defense. It was about energy, movement, and the willingness to do the dirty work. That's what DiVincenzo represented, and that's what this team hasn't been able to replicate. Could a reunion ever happen? The idea of a reunion is appealing, but unlikely. The Timberwolves are competing near the top of the Western Conference standings, and they have no incentive to strengthen a potential rival like Golden State. Unless the Warriors offer something significant in return, Minnesota won't be picking up that phone. So for now, the Warriors can only watch from afar, seeing DiVincenzo thrive, play fearless basketball, and bring the same energy that Golden State so desperately needs. Maybe they'll find that spark elsewhere. Maybe a young player steps up. But if this recent stretch has proven anything, it's that the Warriors are still searching for that heartbeat, the relentless high-motor presence that once made them unstoppable. After losing 5 of their last 6 games, the Warriors don't just need more scoring. They need life. They need energy. They need someone like Donte DiVincenzo again. Inside the Warriors' growing concern. Sources close to the team suggest there's a sense of quiet urgency within the Warriors' locker room. Players and coaches alike know that the margin for error is shrinking. After losing 5 of their last 6 games, Golden State is hovering around .500, a position that would have been unthinkable during their dynasty years. The team's leaders, Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, have reportedly been vocal about the need to bring back the edge that once defined their championship DNA. That edge, however, can't come solely from veterans. It has to come from players willing to dive for loose balls, sprint on every possession, and bring a defensive intensity that forces the opponent to match their energy. That's exactly the kind of effort Donte DiVincenzo provided, and exactly what the team has been lacking. Kerr's dilemma. Head coach Steve Kerr has found himself in a tough position. His trust in veterans like Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins remains strong, but both have struggled with inconsistency on both ends of the floor. Kerr has hinted in recent interviews that rotations may continue to evolve, opening the door for younger players to earn bigger roles. "We need to find combinations that bring us life," Kerr admitted after the Denver loss. "Right now, the ball isn't moving the way we want, and the energy isn't where it needs to be." Those words, though calm on the surface, reflect a deeper frustration. The Warriors' identity, built on pace, motion and relentless energy, has faded. Their offense ranks near the middle of the league, and without Curry on the floor, they've looked alarmingly stagnant. Front office conversations begin. Behind the scenes, there's growing talk about potential mid-season adjustments. While no official trade rumors have surfaced, insiders believe the front office could explore adding a high-energy guard or wing before the trade deadline. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. has made it clear he wants to keep the team competitive without sacrificing the future. But the pressure to support Curry, now 37 and still performing at an elite level, is immense. Every wasted season feels heavier, and the organization knows its window is closing. There's also a sense among the players that something needs to change soon. Several veterans have reportedly expressed frustration with the team's lack of cohesion. One source described the mood as tense but hopeful, a locker room aware of its flaws, but still believing that one spark could turn things around. A familiar feeling of urgency. For Warriors fans, this all feels eerily familiar. In past seasons, stretches like this one often triggered a response, a lineup shakeup, a motivational speech from Kerr, or a burst of brilliance from Curry that reignited the team's confidence. But this time, it feels different. The core is older, the league is faster, and the rest of the Western Conference is stronger than ever. Golden State can no longer rely solely on experience. They need legs, energy, and hunger. That's why the absence of players like DiVincenzo looms so large. His hustle, defense, and ability to create chaos fit perfectly with what the Warriors used to be, and what they're still trying to rediscover. The road ahead. The coming weeks will be critical. The Warriors face a grueling 6-game road trip that could determine the trajectory of their season. If they can rediscover their rhythm and rebuild confidence, there's still time to climb the standings. But if the losses continue to pile up, tough decisions may be on the horizon, including potential roster changes or reduced roles for longtime veterans. As one team insider put it, the Warriors don't just need another scorer. They need their heartbeat back. Someone to light the fire again. Golden State has built its dynasty on resilience and chemistry. Whether they can summon that same magic once more, without the spark of players like Donte DiVincenzo, may define the final chapters of this era.